Are you ready to take your investment game to the next level? Introducing Digital Investor, your ultimate guide to mastering the digital marketplace. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Digital Investor brings you cutting-edge game theoretical strategies, expert insights, and real-time tips and tactics to analyze, evaluate, invest, and grow your wealth. Don't miss out on the digital revolution. Visit www.nickblacknext.com and start your journey with Digital Investor today.
Brandon,
Yo, yo!
what's going on?
Well, it's another day. Another day.
Do we have any cleanup, any housekeeping we need to sort out?
Yeah? Yeah. Well, it looks like it's another Bitcoin show day. We'll talk about that, huh? But
Yep.
Bitcoin steals the show again. What do you know?
Yep.
Bitcoin always is king. Now, I've said this once. I'll say it again. And this is fine. This is fine. But here's the deal now. Here's the deal going forward. If you do use MetaMask Portfolio, I will not help you. From that point forward, I will not even answer your email.
Why is anybody using that?
I don't know. I've told people 100,000 times not to use MetaMask Portfolio. So whenever they're having troubles or their tokens disappear or their balances aren't reading correctly or they can't connect the node market, I find out ultimately they're in MetaMask Portfolio, dinking around in there, and I've told people 100 times not to use MetaMask Portfolio. Anyway, that's it. That's easy. Sorry, I don't mean to start out negatively, but we'll switch this positively coming up here soon.
That's gosh,
I'm negative.
At a certain point, dummy's gonna dummy. It ain't just meme coins, people.
Oh, let's just put that in the chat so we know that anybody coming will read that as well. Never use MetaMask Portfolio. Now, Let me ask you a question, Nick.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one question because you might know the difference because a lot of people have not understood this yet. Is MetaMask and MetaMask Portfolio the same thing?
In the same way that Coinbase and Coinbase Wallet are the same thing.
Ah, yes, that's so true. I use Coinbase, but I don't touch Coinbase Wallet. Why would I touch Coinbase Wallet? Okay.
The portfolio feature is just a separate weirdness. I don't know.
It's a whole different dApp. It's a whole different dApp. So what MetaMask has tried to do is create this little cool portfolio page that is useless. And then people think they're using MetaMask, but they're not.
Yeah, I think it's a product that was built on the side, and it's their hack job version of something that might eventually become OpenSea, but it won't.
Yeah.
Did you see that again? That OpenSea registered
in the Caymans.
Yeah, where you register when you're going to launch a bullshit token.
I sure hope so. Although I went and looked, I don't have as much volume on OpenSea as I had hoped. I thought I traded more on OpenSea. I guess so. I used other platforms because the fee on OpenSea is 2.5%. On Blur, it's 0.5%. So,
and also, who knows how far is that back? Is that going to go? Is that going to go back?
Yeah,
to
they don't.
They're not going to count 2021 when we were crushing it.
They don't. Yeah, they might not. They might do not. They might only count even the pro users on OpenSea Pro, which would be whatever. Although, hey, I did want to tell you, your blue airdrop did double, so it might almost be worth claiming pretty soon here. So we'll see.
Which one?
Well, you got one for being a what do they call it? Top 10,000 jupe staker. You got 500 bluefin, which at the time when I talked about it last week was only worth $100. Now it's worth $200. I still haven't claimed mine yet.
How did we get it, or we don't have it yet?
No, you can get it now. You got to go connect your wallet to Bluefin, connect your Sui wallet to Bluefin, and then do a transfer. It's like really, I could show you guys.
I'm not doing it.
I know. That's why I haven't done it yet. Because it's like, it's way too many steps for an quote unquote airdrop, that I'm like, I don't know.
Terrence, no airdrops in MetaMask are safe. I want to say this clearly.
Oh.
None. Never. Don't click on it. Don't even look at it. Just ignore it. There are 0 airdrops in MetaMask that are safe. Those are usually the beginning of a phishing scam or some other kind of, it's a scam. Or it's some dumpster diving project. Stay away from it. Stay away from any airdrop into MetaMask, period.
Yeah.
Because how discerning are they being if they're just sending to random MetaMask, just to MetaMask in general?
Yeah.
Oh, everybody in Web3, here's a free token. No, it's a scam.
Yeah, it's a scam, guys. Scam.
Yeah, just don't trust any. I mean, I don't. Airdrop season is dangerous. A lot of people are like, yeah, we get airdrops, and most people not most people, but a lot of people get scammed because you get in the habit of like, oh, click here, connect here, click this button. Oh shit, all my stuff's gone.
Even that Bluefin one, I know it's legit, but I still don't like connecting a bunch of wallets to a weird dApp that I've never used before. So I always, even on like any like legit airdrop, I let people test it 100 times over before I even touch it. So that's just standard.
I mean, if it's not like real money, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, would you run out in front of a cement mixer for $100 bill?
No.
No,
you would not.
No, my friend. Let's see. Curious why gas was low this weekend despite BTC. Because, well, Denny, when you're doing Bitcoin transactions, it's not touching the Ethereum network. And when Bitcoin is in the highlight, when Bitcoin's the big show, people are less trading altcoins, less trading ERC20 assets and things like that. So you can get that because they slosh back and forth, is what I would say. Okay, let me cover this news because it's pretty interesting. Some of the recent Bitcoin run is a little bit of Trump talking, which is good because he's still on board. It wasn't just I don't think this was just a tactic to get elected. I think he's a crypto guy now.
You saw his World Liberty, they doubled their Ethereum stash, right? So they used some USDC and they doubled their Ethereum.
10 million in Ethereum.
And then they have they purchased Chainlink and
which I thought that was weird. That most likely that's because Sergey and those other douchebags contributed to the campaign.
Yeah.
Which, okay, a little quid pro quo, that's fine.
Yeah.
So let's talk Trump for a second. So Trump confirms plans for the strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Yeah.
And again, it's not clear how exactly they would set this up. That part's not been ironed out. But the fact is he could force people to build it. He could kind of force people to build it because this is something that they're not going to get a lot of pushback. The only thing you get is you get guys like Peter Schiff and all these kind of guys going, that won't solve the debt. Yeah, no shit. This one thing won't solve 50 years of really bad governance. No, it won't solve that, but it might help. That's the whole thing. It's the same argument that Peter Schiff uses against holding Bitcoin in the strategic reserve is the same is the opposite argument that you would use to hold gold in it. Like, why do we have gold reserves? Well, because it's gold. It's people like it so much, and it's like, go on. Is it transferable, transportable, divisible? No, not really. Cool. All right. Is it unique? Is there a capped limit to it? No, none of those things. Great. And is it fucking floating through space in the 100 million ton range every 13 seconds across the night sky? Well, yes, actually, it's not at all rare in the universe. It's actually it's one of the more fucking common things in the universe, actually. So, like,
yes,
And they're discovering gold veins all the time. And the gold price is
You saw
hugely,
El Salvador found like $3 trillion worth last week.
hugely manipulated because the
Yeah.
gold miners go and they look at the price, and what they do is they scale. Okay, like if it's $100 to get an ounce of gold out of the ground, they don't scale all the way up to where they're getting all the gold out of the ground. These miners, kind of like the oil companies, they like, they like gold within a range because then they can slowly sell their gold, and they can slowly, push the price up. Like, it's common sense. It's not a manufactured price. It's a managed price. It's the same thing with oil. It's managed. Oil's really good in kind of ranges. It gets too expensive at a certain point, and economies grind to a halt. It gets too cheap, and that means that basically you're in some kind of goddamn dystopian, depressionary nightmare. So, but in that kind of like range, it's fine. That's the same thing the way gold is. Silver's a little different because silver is an industrial metal that has a lot of industrial purposes, like solvents and so anyway, silver is a little bit different animal, but gold specifically is kind of its own managed price asset with very little institutional use. Anyway, but that's the same arguments that you could make the same arguments other than all the cool things about Bitcoin. You could say that Bitcoin's only cool to a few people, and yeah, okay, cool, but most appreciating asset in human history, and even today. And so it seems like if some Bitcoin in a reserve helps, then that's the whole point of where you would put your treasury reserve. You want to put some assets in a basket that are not pegged to the whims of your currency. That's why other countries hold treasuries and hold US dollars, right? Like that's the whole point. So it should seem like common sense. And I get why the gold guys are mad. They're worried about countries buying less, mostly useless gold and starting to put on Bitcoin. But I don't think it would be a horrible world if there was equal portions, gold and Bitcoin, in the treasury of every government on earth. I don't feel like that's a bad thing. Anyway, some people do.
I think there's a lot of rumors saying that he's going to do the executive order, right? The same thing that they used back in the day. What do you think? I have a clip on that. Hold on a second.
He's exploring it. This was Dennis Porter said, I can confirm that Trump is exploring an executive order creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The Treasury, through the Exchange Stabilization Fund, has the authority to stabilize the dollar by buying currencies. Trump would use this fund to buy Bitcoin. He could do that. I mean, that could be done. That could be done without asking permission, right?
Yeah.
So according to Forbes, he's exploring this bold plan to create the strategic Bitcoin reserve. The Russians have already said they're doing it. They're not even planning; they're doing it, which I think is pretty cool, and I think means more than people realize.
I think Japan's doing it too, right?
But Russia.
Russia.
Look at all the trade partners. Russia is a huge oil exporter.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. This could be pretty cool. Anyway, could be a game changer for the U.S. economy. Experts are even predicting this could send Bitcoin's price. This is written wrong. Bitcoin's market cap to 15 trillion, which, again, that's not crazy. That's just equaling out gold. So all the things, soaring to equal gold. Okay, well, it should equal gold. I mean, it
should equal gold. It's more rare. It's more, it should be greater than gold. It's more rare. There's less supply, and it's not infinite supply, I guess, because gold's basically an infinite supply token.
That's right.
When Elon starts mining from space and dropping gold on your head.
I mean, it's just, gold is just not that. It's not even that rare here. Yeah. You know what else is not rare? I bet you guys don't know this. Diamonds. Not at all rare. I mean, not at all. There was companies that they find these big giant these islands like off the coast of South Africa and stuff there's so many diamonds you can put your hand in the beach sand and just pull up diamonds. Like that's so they concrete over them and they have 24-hour security like boats and everything because they know it would just destroy the market. The Russians, they fill boxcars full of diamonds and bury them and cement them every year. I mean, thousands. There is fucking nothing. Diamonds are as rare as grass on your lawn.
Oh
That's how rare they are. It is a completely this is a manufactured market.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I believe that. Like, who?
Completely manufactured. And then who sets the prices? The pawnbrokers. There's a thing called the Rappaport sheet, the RAP sheet in diamond. Anybody's in the diamond business, you get the RAP sheet every 2 months, and it tells you what everything is worth. It goes by the color, the cut, the clarity, the grade, like everything. And you read it like a chart. Like, okay, this is a VS2. It's a white. It's a pillow. Okay, it's worth this per carat. And then it even goes up to like, okay, 1.9 carats, 1.99 carats. Okay, at 2 carats, because 2 carats is worth way more than 1.9 carats, just because it's the whole number. Anyway, completely manufactured. Like, they print the prices and send them out in the pawnbrokers. Like it used to go out in the pawnbrokers guide every couple of months, and that was it. That was the RAP sheet, and everybody at every refinery, every gold place, every jeweler had a little folded over pink, like kind of cardboard sheet. And you say, "What's that?" "Oh, that's the RAP sheet. Those are the wholesale prices of diamonds." So completely fake.
Because they say so. That's the price. Because you say so.
Because one guy says so, or like a small group. Then when you're trying to buy diamonds in bulk, you go to these things and they give you the diamonds. You don't get to choose them. Like Cartier goes to them, Tiffany goes to them. They have these big diamond sales. It's no longer called a cartel, but the De Beers Consortium or whatever. And you say, okay, I have $197,000 to spend. And they're like, okay, cool. Here's your $197,000 worth of stones. And it's just all over the place. And that's it. You don't get to choose. That's why when you look at Cartier and a lot of these jewelers, they have pieces and there's like no 2 pieces are the same. And that's not a marketing thing. Sometimes they're not the same because they can't get enough stones to make a set of the same. Now, the little bitty stones, the milli, you can get that all day, right? The milli stones, the little 5-pointers, the 10-pointers, all that. You can get that all day. It's everything over about a little bit less than half a carat. Everything after that, it's so random. And again, they do that just to keep everybody like, whoa. Manufactured, completely manipulated fake market. At least there is clarity in Bitcoin. And that's the one thing is like, it's clear. And so, and for people that are like, I don't like Bitcoin because I can't hold it and touch it. Okay, well then it's not for you, Gramps. Take your fucking dentures out and go watch CSI Miami. And which I kind of like that one, except that guy was very intense. The red-haired guy. Remember him?
Never watched it.
CSI Miami was cool. They were all cool dressed. And he always had like cool statements. He'd always do like that look. David Caruso. You're
David? Don't know.
Yeah, that guy was a real dick. Anyway,
Never watched it. For
those of you who don't know, the strategic Bitcoin reserve idea is that the government would buy over a 5-year period 1 million Bitcoin. At least this is the current iteration of it. 1 million Bitcoin. That much buying pressure would do a couple of things. One, it would just be constant buying pressure on the market. The other thing is it would force a lot of local governments, state governments, banks, municipalities, funds, pension funds, hedge funds, and what is in between countries? What is it? Not principalities. They would all kind of be forced in because they're like, well, the U.S. is going to be buying on a regular basis. We should probably hold some in reserve. And so it becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you look at gold, there's a couple of big moments. And also, if people follow gold closely, when they had when gold was mostly a controlled asset, you had the whole situation in the 50s, and then you had the unwind in the 70s. But gold had already unwound way before that. Nixon taking the U.S. off the gold standard didn't really change much. There wasn't really a gold standard. There were separate prices. There was the trade-in, the desk price, and then there was the out in the streets price of gold. There was always several. So this kind of thing doesn't work, and it doesn't work. Robert Triffin talked about this, Triffin's dilemma, right? Like you can't, without running bigger and bigger and bigger budget deficits, you can't manage a currency for your country and also the world's reserve currency without continually creating currency units into existence. You have to follow the populace, right? Like if there's more babies being born, there's more humans. Eventually those humans will enter the workforce. You have to expand the currency supply. And you can't do that if you're pegged to an asset that has a fixed supply. This is not that. A Bitcoin reserve isn't about pegging the dollar. So people get that wrong. Oh, they're going to peg the dollar to the Bitcoin. No, that's not what this is. It is an asset that continues to appreciate based on all of the stupidity around the world. And since everybody basically knows that will never stop, then it makes sense to help alleviate some of that stress by buying a hedge against that. So Bitcoin to me is a hedge against all this fucking government stupidity, which equals printing, right? And this is a good way to maybe offset some of that pain. You might say, well, wait a minute. Doesn't that mean that eventually the government would have to sell some of it? Not exactly. There's all sorts of ways the government could borrow their way out of these assets. Never underestimate bureaucrats' clever ways at not paying what they owe. So we'll see. I mean, what do you think? Do you think this happens day one, Brandon?
So January 20th? Boy, I don't know.
You think he'll drop the executive order on, the first day he's in the office?
I don't know. I think maybe it could happen. It could happen.
Okay, then the next question is, do you think people think he will?
The poly market bet is not good. It's 30%. So that's people don't think he will, apparently.
Well, I think if that means 1 in 3 people do think he will.
Correct.
That's a lot.
1 in 3 crypto degens think.
I mean, I would give it 1 in 10.
It's 1.
I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen the first 10 days.
Okay, then you should take this bet. Well, like right now, you get 3-to-1 odds on your bet, right?
It's for how much time?
100 days. First 100 days.
Oh, it's happening. It's happening in the first 100 days.
Why is the bet so low? It is low. I mean, this does look like a good.
If they think this is but they realize, people on Polymarket realize he's no longer campaigning, right? Like, you guys get that. It's like, it's just talking. He's been elected. He's already been elected. If he was going to dump all this, he'd have already dumped all this. There's a reason
I know. It's like,
he keeps saying this. So,
right. So good bet.
Forbes predicts that this would push the market cap to 15 trillion. This guy at a 15 trillion market cap imagines the price of Bitcoin at somewhere around 740,000 a coin.
Hoi.
Now you go, okay, cool, but that's after a 5-year period. Yes, but that would mean that's if this was the only buying pressure added to the current market and no one else came in.
So basically, Russia's not coming in competing, Japan's not competing, El Salvador stops buying, MicroStrategy stops buying. Yeah, not going to happen.
That's the thing.
ETF stop buying.
Yeah, well, not only that, but look at all the states that are looking at raising their own funds.
Texas is like a country itself. I don't know if people realize how big Texas is, but it's like its economy is bigger than I think all but maybe 10 countries. Its own economy or something like that.
Brandon, did you know this? From the widest ends of Texas, end to end, is longer than New York to London.
Really?
Yep.
Just the equator.
And I've driven across that barren fucking wasteland.
That's crazy.
Okay,
That's crazy.
let's talk real quick. Peter Schiff. So Peter Schiff accuses MicroSailor and MicroStrategy of Bitcoin market manipulation. Oh, Schiff accuses Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy of manipulating Bitcoin's price with their massive, predictable buying patterns. Oh, okay.
How's it manipulation when he said, I'm going to buy every week forever? I promise you I'm going to buy every week forever. And he keeps buying every week forever. But now it's manipulation.
So MicroStrategy bought over 423,650 Bitcoin in 2024, spending billions and creating a suspicious link between the purchase and BTC price surges. Yeah, of course. He's a psychopath running a Ponzi scheme. So, but that's not manipulation. Buying something and saying you're going to buy it's not manipulation. Manipulation is when you say nothing, you take out a bunch of options contracts against it, then you buy it up with a big pile of money, deuce your options, then you go short, then you sell your stash. That's manipulation. Upwards and to the right, that's not manipulation. Otherwise, the whole United States could be accused of manipulating the S&P 500. Why? Because of passive indexation funds that just simply buy every time money comes in. They buy these 17 things. Oh, that's market manipulation. Why? Every dollar that comes in, it gets spread out. With now, yes, it's a Ponzi scheme, but what he's talking about, this is why Schiff is such a jackass. He's got a good argument. Stick with the Ponzi scheme argument. That's the argument, and it's legit. This argument that, it's market manipulation. Okay, well then are you manipulating the market the other way by coming and shit talking every 13 seconds? Like, isn't that a form of, aren't you scaring investors?
I think it's more often than that.
He claims the company's Monday purchase announcements are a calculated move to push prices up and drive market hype. The relentless gold maximalist and Bitcoin hater has set his sights on Michael Saylor and the company MicroStrategy, accusing them of manipulating the BTC price. The sharp allegations follow Bitcoin's right. Like, do you think this old nickel and dime ass mofo? Do you think anyone shivers when Peter Schiff's talking about them? This guy would get a warm glass of shut the F up anywhere he went. This guy, Peter Schiff, isn't he living like offshore somewhere outside of like the reach of like indictment? I remember he was doing an interview and the interviewer asked, hey, now about these indictments he's like, I'm not talking about this. And he threw his microphone off and walked off. Oh. Anyway, he points to MicroStrategy's recent buying spree. He said that the company's pattern of purchases is a calculated move to drive BTC prices higher. He said, most likely, this is a quote, we'll find out tomorrow that Saylor was the buyer. That seems to be the trend. It's happened the last 5 Mondays in a row. Okay. So I'm not going to read any more of this, just so you know that that's Peter Schiff's argument, and it's a flawed one. If you want the real argument, it's right there in what they're doing. So MicroStrategy bought another 15,350 Bitcoin, but Bitcoin yield hit 72%. Remember, that's a made-up thing. Michael Saylor made it up. Doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. You don't get yield for holding Bitcoin. You get scathed for holding his stock. But it keeps going up. But you don't own it. Anyway, MicroStrategy just bought 15,350 more Bitcoin, spending $1.5 billion, and now holds 439,000 Bitcoin in total. They paid for the latest haul by selling 3.88 million shares of MicroStrategy. I want you to think about that for a second. Okay, people enter into the convertible notes. They give Michael money. Michael takes that money, then he sells shares and gets more money. Who's he selling to? Well, the shareholders. Yeah, dilution, obviously dilution. So he's diluting the shares. He's taking that money. He's taking senior note holders' money. He's buying Bitcoin. Well, not all Bitcoin. He's taking some of that money and paying off old senior note holders, which sounds a little Ponzi-esque, taking in new money to pay old money. Wait, never mind all that. That clearly indictable reality. So, okay, I buy more Bitcoin, I sell more shares, I buy more Bitcoin, I sell more shares. Do the shareholders own any Bitcoin? Brandon?
Not even any. None.
Now,
None.
what happens if it goes wrong? Micro Sailor gets stuck. Their company is insolvent. What happens to that Bitcoin? Do the shareholders get the Bitcoin, the ones that keep buying in and giving him money, or do the senior note holders get that Bitcoin?
I don't know if anybody gets the Bitcoin.
Well, the senior note holders would.
Senior note holders would before the shareholders.
Or they would get the results of it through insolvency.
Right.
But the equity holders get nothing. This is the crux of it. He's mining equity holders to finance this thing, and the other money that comes in on top, the convertible notes, they don't have any downside risk other than that Bitcoin could cascade downward. Does that make sense? So how does MicroStrategy fund its obsession? The funding for these massive purchases comes from an October 30th sales agreement with a bunch of heavy-hitting financial institutions, including TD Securities, Barclays, and Cantor Fitzgerald. The agreement allows MicroStrategy to issue and sell up to $21 billion worth of its Class A common stock over time. You're buying, they're selling. They're buying Bitcoin, but it ain't your Bitcoin. By December 15th, the company had already resold shares worth $1.54 billion, leaving $7.65 billion in available shares for future sales. These sales have proven to be a reliable pipeline for fueling MicroStrategy's Bitcoin buying spree. Think about that. Hopefully nobody here. I mean, I can't really shit on the stock because the stock has gone up, mostly because people are stupid. But the stock has gone up for 4 years. It's done a 21x over 4 years. That's pretty dang good. It outpaces just about everything in the S&P 500. Mm-hmm. So you did good. I just worry that the price of Bitcoin will get so high that the money that he conjures up from selling stock won't be enough to move the price. And then there's a problem. Then the senior note holders are like, I'm not going to do it. Then he can't keep selling shares because the price of the shares is going to start coming back down to meet the actual asset value, the NAV. And at that point, there's nothing left. What do they just convert to an ETF? The whole thing?
At par value, right?
I don't know what they do at that point. I'm sure they have a plan because he's a whack job, but he's not a complete idiot. And he seems to have some understanding of math. I'm sure they realize that there is an end to this. They just imagine the end is somewhere around $1 million of Bitcoin, I think. That'd be my guess. What do you think, Brandon? When does this?
He thinks, he thinks $13 million of Bitcoin by 2045 is what he said. I don't think
as red as his face is, he's going to have, he will have carped out way before that.
Yeah, for him, I don't think he sees an end in this. He thinks it'll go up forever. So maybe that's his math. That's how he's working his math. If the Ponzi never ends in his mind, it never has to end. So that's why he thinks he'll be buying $1 billion a day. So anyway, we are serendipitously close to 107,000.
Holy shnikes.
So that's the wall that we're talking about. Let's go.
All right, the wall has been called.
Let's go.
The wall has been called.
We're going behind the proverbial wall now to continue the broadcast privately for the digital investors and digital private clients. If you'd like to join us, simply go to nickblacknext.com and subscribe to one of our plans and immediately take advantage of our library of tools, tactics, and information. It's all designed to help you learn, grow, and manage your portfolio like a pro. Join us now.